We are doing another vlog style video today. As I mentioned in the recent vlog that just went out like not that long ago, I am giving you guys my best effort to not only share business side of stuff with you, but also some more personal stuff. It's not really something I've done on my channel a whole lot, but you guys seem to really like it. I got a lot of really great feedback. So I am trying to incorporate some of that with you guys, just more of the day-to-day that not only helps to keep the business going, because my personal life honestly does kind of revolve around my business and it helps everything to flow together, but also just to keep myself sane. So I'm hoping to share some of that with you guys today. I'm ready to go, ready to head out the door. I am taking you guys sourcing with me today. That's what most of my day is going to be. I did do my computer chores that I talked to you guys about in the last one. And I've also just been prepping to leave. Something personal that has been going on lately is I am an extremely frugal person, just generally speaking. I actually used to be like, do you guys remember that show Extreme Couponing? It was like 10 years ago. I did that like to the level that they did in the shows. I was very frugal. I grew up not because of that. I take being frugal very seriously. I don't like a lot of waste, and I feel like lately I've actually gotten kind of complacent myself with that. We've been eating out a lot. Even sourcing wise, I feel like I'm spending a lot more money than I used to. You guys might have noticed I mentioned a few times recently during like Goodwill outlet hauls that I'm trying to lower my cost of goods a little bit. So I'm just trying to be, I guess, more mindful of the things that I'm doing, just being very conscious of that. So one of the things I've actually done for years now that helps me stay frugal is I always pack drinks. It'd be better if I were to always pack lunch also, but one step at a time. You know, I was packing lunch before, but I always make sure, even if I'm not packing lunch, that I always pack a cooler of water or drinks or whatever. And that not only helps me to not purchase stuff while I'm out, but it also helps to save time, because doing short little quick trips into places that aren't thrift stores where I can find products do add up. I mean, if you're stopping to get a coffee, plus you're stopping at a gas station, like I feel like all the little things that we do, all of those things add up to probably 1 to 2 hours, depending on how many times you stop. And that's 1 to 2 hours that I could be outsourcing. So that is something I thought I would share with you that I pretty much always do. That helps really keep me in line with my time and my budgets, is always packing drinks, which for me is almost always water. And sometimes I'll throw a kombucha in there. Something else I notice is I am somebody who loves to stop for coffee. Like I love stopping at coffee shops, trying out something new, and not saying that I never do that, because I definitely do. But even lately I have been trying to like pack a drink myself. They're actually really easy to make at home, like on the go, so that in the afternoon, if I want something, I've already got it, and this stuff keeps it hot or cold. Today, we are bringing green tea with honey because, as you guys can probably tell, I am still recovering from losing my voice over being sick, just now getting back into making videos. So hopefully this honey and hot stuff keeps me able to talk to you guys for most of today. We are about to go thrifting. Something else I'd like to do while we are out, don't mind the mess, I got stuff everywhere. You guys wanted the real stuff, you got real life right now. But something that I have been working on is trying to create kind of like a capsule-ish wardrobe for myself, picking a lot of neutrals out just to make, you know, getting dressed in the morning easy, but looking halfway presentable. Today I'm wearing sweatpants, a white like knit top, and black tennis shoes. So like, in my opinion, nothing really matches on me lately. And I was hunting, because it's super cold outside, for a little sweater to pop over this. And all I have is a black cardigan, and it doesn't really go, but we're going to wear it anyways. But while I'm out today, I am going to look for something to add to my capsule wardrobe. All of it's thrifted, which I love. It's taken me a while to, get to that point. But I realized that I needed like a tan or oatmeal colored or lighter colored cardigan, like a beige colored cardigan, because obviously it would go much, much better with this outfit. So I'm going to be looking for that today. So you guys will come along with me, see if we can find one. I love looking for key pieces. I obviously have like a bolo list for things that, brands that I want to find, like things I'm looking to flip. But I also have a bolo list, like, not holy grail, but you get what I'm saying, like a bucket list for pieces I want for my own wardrobe. Because having those things in the back of my mind, that if I can find that perfect piece, has really also saved me a lot of money, versus I pretty much never buy things at full price at regular stores. But having that in my mind makes sure that I'm always looking out for those things. So that's something I'm adding to my bucket list. Let me know, do you guys have a bucket list for items that you are looking for yourself? One of the capsule wardrobe pieces that I have been dying to have for forever, it's taken me like 6 months to find one, thrifted at least, is a black raincoat. So I found this Columbia one. It's actual nylon, so water can't get through. And it was like $8. I don't know. It was super affordable. It's long length. It is now in my wardrobe, and I'm happy I waited for the right piece. All right. Maybe I should vacuum out my car today, but it is raining, so I don't know if that's going to happen. So we got our smart, I'll just call it a smart drink, because it's going to prevent me from stopping at a coffee shop, hopefully. We've got our lunchbox full of waters. I'm going to go ahead and actually get one of those out. And then our regular bag with filming stuff. You guys, we are gonna get the show on the road. We're gonna see what all goodies we can find today. I probably won't show you every single item that we get, but I'll take you along through my day and we'll see what we can find, what the best items are, maybe what the crap items are. You guys have been asking to just like keep things real. First of all, we always keep things real here at Well Traveled Clothiers, but a lot of you guys have been asking for me to show, like, I don't know, some of the crap sales or some of the behind the scenes don't go well. And I totally agree with you. Like, I do think that there is a reality to reselling that you don't always get to see in videos like this, but I want to keep my channel super positive while also being realistic. I always want to aim towards a goal and run and chase a goal and what the right thing is to do. And I think if you know what to chase for, then you know that everything else is what you should stay away from, if that makes sense. So I'm doing my best to include some of that in there, being realistic, but also keeping everything goal-oriented and pressing forward, because that is all about how I run my business. I do not like to focus on the negatives. I do not like to wallow in things that aren't going right. I just like to press forward with the things that are going right. And then I know that everything else outside of that needs to get out of my business. But with all that being said, today, hopefully I'll get to show you guys a couple of things where I'm like, hey, this was not a great store, or hey, this was a crap sale that I had today. All right, for real, this just happened. You guys want reality of reselling? I just went to take a drink out of my tea and realized that this lid did not get clean in the dishwasher. There was food caked like all over it, so might be drinking this without a lid and getting it gulped down right now. My husband, when he does the dishes, he actually does most of the dishes, but sometimes attention to detail on things that are not getting cleaned via the dishwasher is not his strong suit, but we love him anyways. All right, you guys, we are at the first stop. We are going to see what we can find. I actually think today, in the spirit of frugality and also time efficiency, that I'm going to time audit myself today and try to get in and out of a store within 30 minutes each. That's always been my goal. But like I said, I feel like I've been getting slightly complacent lately. There's just been so much going on, business wise, but also personal life, getting sick, like
all kinds of things. So I do feel like I've gotten slightly complacent, and I feel like this is something every reseller should do, whether you're new to reselling, whether you've been at this for 10 years, is every now and then having audits for yourself and also recognizing when you might be getting complacent in some areas. And when it comes to how quickly I am moving through thrift stores, not only is that costing me time, but it is also costing me money, and it's also costing me potential inventory because I'm not getting to as many places as I could. So my goal has always been 30 minutes for the entire store. Remember, we only look at new racks and new colors, so we should be able to move through it pretty quickly. And that is 30 minutes for just myself to be in and out of a thrift store. There are not a ton of people here. Sometimes a bunch of people at a thrift store holds me up in the aisle like a lot. So I'm confident I should be able to get through quickly, but I am going to go ahead and time audit myself today. I'll let you guys know how I do at this store.
Here's something that used to perform really well, and I just checked comps and isn't. If this had more of the chore barn style pockets versus this bomber, I would definitely get this because that is performing really well right now. So far I'm not having much luck here. I got this John Barbados polo. Here is an Aeropostale Y2K hoodie. Normally I would get a men's Y2K hoodie, but this is missing quite a few factors that I would like to see. For one, it is not thick at all. It's got a ton of wash wear. And it's not one of the like Bolo hot ticket brands, so because it is missing a lot of those factors, it's a little bit more plain than I would like. We're gonna leave that behind. Also, I just checked comps on this John Barbados polo. Used to be good. Used to grab for it all the time. It's not anymore, so I'm also going to be putting this back. So far we have nothing. Here's an example of a cardigan that I would definitely get. I really like the color of this. It's a long length, but I hate these crossover details here. I feel like they would be just a nightmare to wash, and if one of them were to break, it would fall apart. But super cute, kind of the vibe I'm looking for. Cream or beige colored or tan, and longer length. Here's a really awesome brand that makes really nice linen pieces. It's called Pine and Smith. Even though we're in the middle of winter, it actually still has a really great sell-through right now, so I'm gonna get it and list it. It usually can sell between $50 and $150. This is my second time finding it. I'll probably list this one probably closer to $95, maybe a little over $100. Then I came across this 1 teaspoon dress. This used to be a really amazing brand. However, I checked comps on this and the sell-through rate was really terrible, so I'm going to leave that behind. Also came across a Girlfriend Collective Athleta dress, and I used to be able to sell these in summer just a few months ago, but sell-through rate is bad. And then I really wanted to pick up this Old Navy dress because it was gorgeous, super cottagecore, but again, just not really appropriate for the season, so I'm going to leave that behind. Just came across this Sundance item. You guys know I love Sundance, but because it is an extra small, I am going to leave that behind, just not a substantial enough piece. Also came across a new brand to me that makes high quality wool pieces. I think it's pronounced Neve. These are going for about $40 to $50 online, so I'm going to grab it. Very exciting find. Love finding new brands. Also came across these pair of boots. These were screaming Y2K to me with the chunky heel. Love the embroidery. There are actually no boundaries, which in Y2K vintage pieces, especially in shoes, can do well. However, these were faux leather and they just had a lot of wear to them, so I left them behind. Came across Vintage Express. This is another brand that can perform well in vintage stuff, and I love the Western look to this. I thought this was going to be like a really great item. You can see there's reindeer on it, but I looked it up and sell-through is bad and there's a lot of them already listed. This next one is a Lauren Ralph Lauren piece I definitely would have gotten because of that fur collar and the print and wool, but as you can see, it is incredibly shrunken. That would have been an amazing find. A lot of the stuff that I find at thrift stores, even if they are good brands or styles, are flawed, so I end up leaving them. Alright, here's something that actually might be worth getting. It is a vintage Jones New York coat. Very like penny lane style. It has the faux suede, the faux fur, and I really like the color scheme of this. I think I'm gonna grab this one. I also saw on the shelf this potentially style-based piece, although I think it might have a couple of marks on it. Plus I just got it on a hanger. Don't know this brand, but look at all the granny square on this one. So super cute. It does have a couple of spots, so I'm gonna look it up and see if it might be worth getting. Something I'll do if I can't find like comps on it, an exact brand, like especially with vintage brands, unless it's well known, you're not gonna find a lot, is I'll just search whatever the item is. So in this case, I searched vintage granny square sweater just to see what sell-through it was, and if the one that I have looks enough like the ones that people are picking up. I don't think mine is, so I am going to actually put this back, sadly. Here's something else I am saying no to. I've actually said no to it for a couple weeks, but this is a Y2K style baby doll top. You can see the break in the waist right here. Great shape of this. However, the print of this is way too multicolor and bright, and it's just not something that people are looking for right now. If it was more of this print, dark florals, something like that in this shape item, I would like 100% get it for style-based reasons. Alright, I found another really close to what I'm looking for in a cardigan. Super cute, but it is just not long length enough. I really prefer like a duster style cardigan. Alright, last find of the day. Surprisingly, an Old Navy Y2K Henley top. Believe it or not, a lot of the stuff is as seen on TV, like Vampire Diary stuff. I'm not saying this one was, but I could totally see it being one of them. If nothing else, it is enough of a look-alike and something people are searching for. So I am going to grab this. I think I'll probably list this for around $28. Really small cart today. I'm about to head to checkout and go to the next place. I can already tell I spent way too much time in here.
Okay, so that obviously did not go well in there. I definitely spent way too much time. Let me actually check the time real quick. Oh my gosh, you guys, I spent an hour in there. An hour instead of 30 minutes. Like, this is why it's really important if you feel like something's off to do a time audit, because I was nailing like 30 minutes for probably half of a year, and now I am back to being slightly complacent in time. Thrift stores are like a time warp. Like, do you feel that way? The bins is even worse. Like, I just feel like you go into a different dimension and then like there's no concept of time. Not making excuses, but just trying to understand the situation for myself. But normally I am able to get through much faster in a thrift store. They did not have any new racks at this thrift store, which means I could not easily tell right away what the new color was. I should have just asked an employee, but there were very few of them and they were like in and out of the back, so it wasn't easy to catch one of them. And so I basically had to cherry pick everything with my eyes because I didn't know what the color was. So taking a look at every single item in the store versus only having to check on, I don't know, what do you want to say, like a quarter of the store is probably the new color. That's where I think I lost my time. So there can be disadvantages also to looking for the new colors if you're in a situation like this where you can't really tell what the new color is. I made some educated guesses based on, stuff I hadn't seen and what I thought would be newer items, but I was in between two colors still. So regardless, it took me significantly more time than usual. I'm going to challenge myself at the next store to really get going. What's crazy about how little I left with at this particular store is that this store has been really good to me recently. I don't know if you guys have realized, but this store has been shown in a lot of the Thrift With Me videos that myself and Joe have gone to. It's just easier to get to for me. It's easier to film in. And so it's been shown in a lot of videos, and we usually fill up an entire cart, and they usually bring new racks out pretty consistently. Like usually there's 2 or 3 new racks when I'm here. None today. So it just goes to show you that like you cannot heavily rely on one thrift store or one sourcing location because it could change at any second. New management, their truck rotation schedule could change. Or maybe they're just having a bad week where they, don't have a lot of employees coming in. Maybe there's sickness going around and stuff isn't getting put out on the floor. And in the opposite direction, sometimes a certain thrift store or an area could be performing poorly, but then something changes and now it becomes excellent to source from. I personally think it's really important to constantly check different sourcing areas. Don't stay completely in one place. Like if you notice something's going downhill consistently week after week, you need to switch things up. And also checking in on places that you haven't been to in a while to see if things have changed. I'm definitely starting to get nervous about this particular store because it is one I've been relying on for a while every single week. And for a few weeks now, it's actually not been performing very well. So I might take my route and change it a little bit, at least for the next few weeks. So now I'm heading to a much busier area. This next store that I'm going to go to, I think the one I'm going to go to, typically I only go through new racks there. The racks get so crammed that it is very difficult to go through and look at everything. And the few times that I have tried to look at everything, I come out with nothing from the actual racks themselves. But again, maybe I should switch that up soon and just test it out again. It's been a few months since I've done that, but it consistently for like 2 years now, when I do test it out again, it never performs. So I think I'm just going to fly through some of those new racks, and then I will see how much time we have left and if I am able to hit another store. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are enjoying seeing, I guess I would call it the dark side of reselling, seeing all of the things that, I'm coming across, but I'm not picking up. I do a lot of comps, you guys. Most of the stuff that I look at in comp, I'm putting back. I'm only keeping probably like 5% of what I'm actually grabbing to look at. And so I don't know. I don't see a point in making an entire video on that, but hopefully you guys like a little bit of it sprinkled in today. Okay, so big change of plans. I totally forgot ever since being sick, my sense of time and dates is just way off. I don't know. I'm living in an alternate reality right now. But I totally forgot that I'm supposed to meet my dad for dinner tonight, which means that I cannot go as far as I originally planned to. So I'm going to head up some more local area thrift stores. They don't tend to be as good, but it's all I have time for today. So I am sitting at the next one now. I am going to head in. This is not a store where you can just go through new racks. So I'll be going through the entire store, hoping to figure out the new color, and we'll see what we can find. Oh, and stay tuned because right after this thrift store, when I get back in the car, I'm going to share some terrible sales for you that I have pulled for those of you that were interested in seeing some of those. Vintage Croft and Barrow, 3D, kind of 3D net, a little bit. Is that a hole? Oh no. No, it's not a hole, just a pull, but multicolor, somewhat 3D net. I'm gonna look it up, see if it'd be worth getting. So I think I am gonna get it, but I'm definitely not gonna be able to list it for as much as I would other things. Here's kind of a cool men's Y2K Abercrombie shirts. However, it has armpit stains on it that I don't feel like attempting to get out because it'll probably only be a $25 sale.
All right, you guys, this is one of my favorite things to find, little niches and brands that most people don't know about. So this is Under Armour. I did a deep dive on Under Armour quite a while ago. It might have even been a year ago. And this is a Superman compression shirt. Now, if you didn't know, over 100% sell-through rate on Under Armour Superman men's shirts, but this particular one that has this print, I'm pretty sure goes for about 50, 60 bucks. Which is insane. They only want $4.99 for it, so I'm definitely getting that. All right, you guys, so I think I only got like, gosh, I don't even know, like 5 things in there. But they were like higher ASP, so that's good. I think I jinxed myself in the beginning because I was like, yeah, this video, we're going to be talking about like mistakes and when things aren't going well. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew that by saying that, I was going to jinx myself into having a bad sourcing day. So it's not been great. To be fair, I've only gone to 2 places, and you just never know when like the next store is going to really make it or break it. Let me know down in the comments how many times in the last, let's say, month have you guys walked out of a store with 0 items? It has happened to me, I would say probably 4 times at least. So probably at least once a week I walk out of a store with 0 items. Because I'm just not going to pick up things just to get numbers. Like, I want to make sure they're actually going to flip. Otherwise, there's no point in getting them and spending the time to list them. There's probably more often than not times where I walk out with 5 items or less, and I just make sure to get to more places. I did a lot better on time in that store. I was able to narrow the new color down pretty quickly just because they have like sale colors. It was a Salvation Army, so they have sale colors. 3 of them, which means there's only 2 colors that the new color could be. So it's pretty easy to figure that out. And yeah, it went a lot better in there. I think I spent about 40 minutes in there. So we're slowly cutting off time. If there had been definitely like a new rack that told me the exact color, I'd be able to run through a lot more quicker. It's also a very, very large store, the one that I'm going through. So 40 minutes is pretty good for that. I'm going to continue time auditing myself probably for the next month until I get back down to 30 again. Because like I said, I've gotten complacent with time and I'm not making sure to like follow my own rules. All right, I'm going to hit at least 1 more place and then I'll end the video. But before that, let me dive into some of my sales where they haven't worked out. I of course have super old items that I could show you that are still active. That's really the true testament of stuff that's, you know, doing poorly is the stuff that's actually still active. But let me show you a couple of sales where I dropped the price. I'm gonna probably be pulling most of these from Poshmark just because on eBay I have to scroll like a while to get to bad sales on eBay. As you guys know, most of my eBay sales are full price sales. It's where I make the most of my income. And then Poshmark's just almost like a little side hustle, but it's a great side hustle. I usually average around $10,000 a month there. And that's even with flushing out old items. So it's not the platform that I intend to flush out old items on. It just happens to be the platform where I am most successful in clearancing out items. So I'm pulling a lot of sales from Poshmark here. But starting with this first one, which is this real leather skirt. This is I think it's a Y2K label. It's longer length. It is like very aesthetically pleasing for, I could see like Western festival, cowgirl. I could see this being used in a lot of popular aesthetics right now. It is a very trendy silhouette. It's made of leather. It's longer length. Like all of those things should increase value for it. However, we did have a couple of marks on it, and I also didn't realize that this listing had a mistake in it. So we did notate the spots throughout, but there was also a picture where if you zoom in, you can tell that we're trying to show that the toggle of the zipper is like partially missing, making it harder for the buyer to zip up and down. And because we showed it in the picture but did not notate it in the listing, I think that's why this one
sat and sat and sat and sat until it finally sold for the price it did, which it sold for about $20. I didn't lose money on it, but I think we originally had this priced at like $40 to $50, and it has sat forever. So depending on how much I paid for this, I think it was around $5-6. That $5 to $6 has been tied up this entire time, meaning I can't reinvest that $5 to $6 into inventory now. And my goal with having a high sell-through rate business is to have quick flips. I want to invest, get my money back, and then some, so that I can take that same investment into cost of goods and apply it to things that are going to continuously sell, so that that $5 to $6 is never really held up. It's constantly churning and working for me. The problem is when you have things like mistakes in your listings, or you're buying not desirable items, sometimes you can even do all the research in the world. Like maybe when I picked up that skirt, it did have a 100% sell-through rate. It was a super trendy item, but small little flaws, or perhaps the season just changes the next week and comps look different. That happens more often than you think. Those items sit. So it's really important to always be ahead of the curve, I guess. Constantly be thinking about things like seasonality, constantly be looking at the trends and going, am I at the peak of this trend, or is this starting to trend downward? And my guess is when I pick that item up, regardless of the flaws, because I think that's really why it sat so long, but regardless of the flaws, I think that I probably was not keeping seasonality and whether I was at the height of that trend in mind when I did my pricing. So a lot of things go in to obviously an item selling faster, and also for what price you're going to list them for. So that sale in particular, definitely not a great sale. Definitely some mistakes made along the way. All right, next up are these Dr. Scholl's little leather booties. I paid like $6 for these. They sold for $7. I definitely lost money on these boots, as these would have to have been price dropped for probably a year to even reach the $7 mark, which is probably like an offer that we sent out. Yeah, definitely probably lost about $1 on those, and not happy with that. Obviously, why did they not sell? I think at the time when I picked them up, which was a long time ago, again, this goes back to keeping up with the trends, really keeping an eye on sell-through rate and not going against that. I had just gone to a DSW to get shoes for myself. Shoes is one of the things that I do purchase new for myself usually, because I have really big feet, you guys. Like, it's really hard. My feet are wide, hardly anything fits. So I do need to like try things on often. And usually I do have to buy shoes brand new for myself. So anyways, I was at DSW, and I saw the prices of certain shoes that I was passing by at thrift stores, and I was like, holy cow. And Dr. Scholl's were one of them. Now, Dr. Scholl's definitely do have a following for like people who are looking for comfort. However, for whatever reason, these particular ones probably did not have the best sell-through rate, and probably because that like retail price made me think, hey, maybe I need to pay attention to these brands more. I took a risk on those shoes, and that risk did not pay off. So again, my $6 was tied up with these boots for probably well over a year. Not to mention, I noticed in the listing that we marked that these had scratches in the leather, but I'm guessing that that's probably how they were manufactured. They were probably meant to have like a distressed look to the leather, because if you zoom in, they actually don't look like full-on scratches. They just look like distressed leather. I think if we would have marketed them that way, they probably would have sold for a little bit more. So again, mistake in the listing, probably not the best decision when picking up these shoes. It's just $6, but it's $6 many, many, many times that ties up your money. So all of that, it piles up. And if you continue to make decisions like I did, where you're having stuff sell for way less than you expected, sometimes even losing money. I don't usually lose money. I usually make my money back and then some, just not much. But in those cases, like sometimes you're waiting years to get your money back, and then you're also sometimes losing money. Those things add up. And, let's say that I make 20 bad decisions and they're each $5, and those items don't sell for a year and I break even on them. That's $100 that I've tied up. And that's just, you know, 1 month, it all adds up. So keep that in mind as you guys are, making decisions on stuff to pick up and what not to. Right. This thrift store is actually closing down early, and I think they're about to shut down the parking lot. So I'm actually going to head to the next thrift store, and after that, will show you guys a couple more of the terrible sales.
Okay, I love this particular location because they actually have dates on their tags, so it's going to be super easy for me to figure out what the new color is. All right, you guys know that I am constantly looking for outerwear. This is a North Face women's vest, and I looked this up, had pretty decent comps. Next one is an American Eagle men's cardigan. I'm looking up every single men's cardigan. This one actually wasn't performing that well, and they wanted $10, so I left it behind. Later, I came across a Polo by Ralph Lauren men's vintage bomber jacket. These always perform super well for me, and they usually flip for about $40. And another cardigan that has way better comps that I did end up getting is Banana Republic men's cardigan. Keep your eye out for the Banana Republic men's cardigans. And next one is this Express Women's Y2K ruche top. That'll go for about $25. A vintage cottagecore crazy horse with really cute velvet trim. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I'm going to list that for $35.
All right, so not very many items in there also. However, I was able to achieve a pretty great average sale price. So even though a small batch of items today, I do feel really good about the stuff that I did get. As promised, here are a couple more of my terrible sales. I probably won't do this very often, so I'm going to include quite a few in this video. Here is one of a Torrid cardigan that sold for, I think it was $11 on Poshmark recently. Obviously, I have dropped the price over many, many months for it to get to that price. I have said before, but I'm super picky with Torrid. I didn't used to be picky with Torrid, so I probably picked this item up about a year ago thinking like, hey, I'm going to get everything Torrid. It's a cardigan. It's a substantial piece. However, I have learned with plus size stuff that it's really only the tops that sell well. There are very few times I pick up plus size cardigans in just about any brand. Torrid is one I make few exceptions for, just in general, tops, cardigans, sweatshirts, anything. And I'm really looking for the like dark contrasting florals, the grunge stuff, the goth stuff, and then anything with skulls on it. But if it falls outside of that aesthetic, it typically does not perform well for me. Oh, and rainbow stuff. Rainbow does really well in Torrid. So again, I was not a year ago aware about all the nuances of Torrid, but it has since been a brand that I have studied, tested out, and I feel pretty confident in knowing what to pick up and what not to pick up now. Similarly, I bought this Cobby jacket. Exact same thing. Tops were performing extremely well for me in Cobby. I was selling like every single one that I picked up probably about a year ago. And then I said, you know what? I came across a Cobby jacket. It's a more substantial piece. So let me just go ahead and get it without actually doing the research. And it turns out just because something is a more substantial piece does not always mean it's going to perform well. So like I said, there are nuances in every single brand, and you've got to figure out what works for you and your business. And if you're not sure what will work, a good place to start is in the comps. Don't just assume that because one item is performing well for you in a certain brand that all items are going to perform well for you in a certain brand. I'm going to put a snapshot of the items that I got here on the screen. Definitely did not get a lot today, but I worked pretty much a half day. I got a late start after doing a bunch of computer work, and then also having to cut the day slightly short to go meet with my dad for dinner, which I'm very excited about. So I love that being an entrepreneur, you do have the opportunities to take half days when you need to. However, if you don't plan for it and you don't have stuff backed up to cover those days, it can be quite overwhelming. So very happy that we are in a situation where I could do this, but got only 14 items today. I did not go very far from home, but my average sale price was $40, which is amazing. So despite getting a small amount of stuff, very happy with what I did pick up in the short amount of time. All right, you guys, I'm going to cut it off here so I can go meet my dad for dinner. I hope that you guys enjoyed another vlog style video. And also the topic of today, I feel like this whole video ended up being, mistakes I've made. But I hope for those of you that were wanting that, I hope that it helped. And again, my advice to everyone, for those of you that are wanting to see the mistakes that others are making, I don't mind showing them, but I just don't think that they are the most beneficial to you guys. I think the way that at least I grew and was super successful is by always keeping my eye on the prize and trying to tunnel vision everything else. You're going to make mistakes. Trial and error are a good thing. Mistakes are a good thing. It helps you to learn, and you want to learn from your mistakes quickly. But in my experience, trying to just really laser focus on what is working is what's going to help you guys grow really quickly. At least it did for me. All right, guys. Well, I am going to get off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here and you haven't already, consider subscribing down below. Make sure to hit the notification bell and hit all if you want to be notified every single time I post one of these Thrift With Me videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.